Let me start recording now, so we'll get everything we're doing from now on. You'll see some onboard from mine if you care. Let's see if I can turn on my steering wheel cam. Dash. There we go. Oh, it didn't work. God, you're going to miss paddle shift when you're in the Saxo. Okay. I'm partial to a bit of paddles. Never. I guess you've not driven very much at this point. Yeah. It's exactly like doing it on the sim. So, yeah. Right. I'm happy I've done good enough data there. So let me just have a little look. Make sure my microphone is working. That's fine. I'm just going to quickly compare my old data to my new one, so I can update you. But it was yeah, I'll hear you and me. Yeah. Right, so there we go. That's a much better lap. So yeah, I was legal through cops and managing to go even quicker, so it's definitely possible. I'm just having a little look whilst you carry on. Okay, I found actually slowing it down even earlier for maggots, I got an even better exit, so that's good info. Actually, slowing it down a tiny bit less minimum, but a fraction earlier. So I got to my minimum earlier, which meant I could get on the power slightly earlier. I'll show you on the data in a minute. Brooklands is largely the same. Yeah, Luffield is definitely the version we just spoke about. So we'll look at that afterwards. But just keep going until you're happy. I'm going to just delete my old lap and we'll go with a new one. And I'll start watching you live in just a second. Cool. Yeah, it's really, the things that you need to tweak are very, very clear on the data now, so that's great. Right, I'm watching you now. Let's go. No pressure. Yeah, you had to you got to the inside, then you had to wait and then turn again. But yeah, that you're not a million miles away. I'm just watching back through maggots as well. Yeah, so I still think you're getting to the apex of the right-hander of maggots, because it's not Beckett's yet, because we don't do Beckett's on this layout. You're getting there quite a lot earlier than I am. It's going to be really obvious on the video now. This is good. Now I've had a few more laps, so I'm very confident in the approach. Right, let's watch. That was definitely a more delayed apex. We just didn't quite get to the apex, but you got to the closest point on the inside of the corner at a better time for sure. That slight delay, it's like that as you're braking deeper, it's like a little wait and then arcing in. It's rather than going straight there. Yeah, that was a decent effort. Right, I want to see you dive over the first curb here at Luffield. Like, really just cut it. Much more than that. You completely missed the curb on that lap. You kind of went round it. So it feels weird because in most corners you wouldn't dive for a crazy early apex. But the difference is we're turning Luffield into 2 corners rather than one really, really long corner. So we're like apex, deep, apex. Even if you don't absolutely nail it during this sim session, you're going to know exactly what I mean. And then when we go to do it for real, it'll just feel natural. You'll be primed for it. That's all right. Just keep going. We'll see if it's shit on the data. Well held. So straight over that curb. It's okay. We're going to nail it eventually. Down to a 106.1 though, so well done. Okay, so you apexed at a good point there. Might have actually gone through the apex slightly too quick that time. It's almost like you had to back off for too long on the exit. That's what it sounded like anyway. It's not always accurate, the audio. But you had the right idea though. Like the entry was the right idea. We maybe just went through the apex a tiny bit too fast. Right, so this time I want to see you literally cut like now over that bit. Yeah, that's it. And then it will go a bit deep, and then you can hit back to the second apex. Just means you can get on the power really early. And when you perfect that, it will be quicker. Okay, great. Great stuff. Hey, well done, man. Well done. Excellent. Keep this up. Keep going. I think we might be diving for the apex there slightly early. Whilst you carry on with this stuff, I'm just going to watch exactly where you turn. So I'm not watching at the moment live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 5th black block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're turning in at roughly the same position for cops, but I think I'm just turning slightly slower. I think that's the only difference. I think you're just doing all the steering lock straight away, and I'm turning at the same point, but just slightly more gradually, and then the lock increases like halfway towards the apex, and then you don't arrive there a bit too soon. They definitely look very tidy. Good job getting in the 105s though, dude. Really good. It's okay. I'll tell you what, why don't you stop for a moment and let's get the data from this run, because you've improved massively. So I want to like keep track of exactly where the next bit of time is. So let's grab that data. Okay, so I need to get your other lap too, because it just weirdly deleted itself, annoyingly. Let's find the other lap. It just does that sometimes. So your other best lap was 106.1, wasn't it there? We'll make that one, what's a contrast colour? Right, so. Okay, yeah, so both, interestingly, you're still going through cops quite a lot slower. So cops, there's actually a lot of time still to find. This is interesting. Let's turn off me for a moment, and then we'll look at you versus you to see where you've improved. So this is Tom versus Tom. Your quicker lap is the pink one here. So you're very similar to yourself on the first corner. I don't know how are we gaining here when we're slower? You've gone a shorter distance. Just checking. I'm not. Ah, yes, yeah. The quick one's the pink one. Yeah. So no, the reason you're quicker is because you're going quicker. Yeah, I was just reading the colours the wrong way around. So you're doing much more the same line as me now into maggots. You're further over to the left on the approach. You delay the turn in and you make an apex at a similar point, but you then carry speed out to the exit here. So you're getting a good mid-corner speed here to here, and you're not really suffering on the exit. So not very much at all. So that's good. That's quicker. So we gain, what is that? You're exactly the same, 200ths off there, and then you gain, by the end of the straight, a 10th, so that's good. Into Brooklyn, just slightly quicker through Brooklands, which is nice, like through the middle. And look at the difference in the line here now. I wouldn't say we've perfected it, but it's way more like my line, where you go over this curb here, go deep, and then cut back. The only thing I'd say, what you're going to see now is how it's still slightly different to mine. If I delete your slower one, and we go and add my one, you're now not opening it up at all, and I was opening it up a little bit into Luffield. So let's make me green. Let's go straight to here. So we'll ignore the speed for the moment. Let's look at the line on this map. So you see the green line, although I'm quite tight, I still open it up a tiny bit here. So when I go over that curb, I'm cutting a bit more to the right. I'm like, that allows me to go deeper in the middle rather than you're going deep a little bit early, that's all. And then that means my exit is easier. Look how much straighter my exit is. So you have shifted it more towards my version, but you're still doing, your braking's like early and hard, and mine is later and long because I'm trying to rotate it in the middle. And the reason that I need to stay on, if you look at the speed trace at this same point, so right here, at the point we've just cut over that entry curb, I'm doing like 20k more than you nearly. So, and the reason I'm doing 20k more is you've already braked. I'm not doing the brake yet. I'm like extending it out all the way to there. So we basically, long story short, still need to barrel over that curb a little bit early, a little bit more significantly, a little bit more of like a dive over it. Having said all that, you're actually not losing much time at all, if anything. So what are we, 6/10 behind there, and by the start line it's, well, yeah, I guess 7/10. So there is a little bit of a gain. There is a bit of a gain. It's just you make a loss just here, but you bring it back here because you're going quicker. But then it's a gradual loss down the next straight, which is why we're trying to get this nice, clean second apex to avoid this gradual loss. So essentially, you still need to dive into this one a bit more significantly from a little bit wider out. So you went deep into Brooklands, and then you stayed deep. I go not quite as deep into Brooklyn, so I've got a little bit of room to cut over that curb. Now you've done it a few times, this might look a bit more obvious. So let's just jump on mine. So here we go, this is my one. So I'm out by this curb, I open it up a fraction, and then immediately it's like, cut there. Like a real obvious early cut. To go deep there, so I'm deepest by this middle red block, and every bit from there onwards it's trying to cut back to like it's much more of a sharp, wide and cut back. It's a bit sharper because I'm still braking until there, and that braking up to there is what's allowing me to get it pivoted. If we do your one, which is still, it's really not bad at all, it's just we can perfect it. you're a little bit too wide here, which is okay if you can go out and then back in. If you can just get it off the curb and dive back in, that's fine. You don't really have much time. Yeah, you see, you made a choice there. You're wide and you went, I'm actually going to stay this wide, which is just a bit too tight. You can get away with it if your right tyres are on the white line. You can't really get away with it here because you've got no curb to cut because you've already cut it. If you see what I mean, you've got no angle to come in at. So you're forced to go deep early, whereas I'm deep over here by my cursor because I'm coming across the curb at that angle a bit more. So you go deep here, and then it's just a little bit more, you've got to wait that bit longer to really get on the power. And your brake happens now. Because you're tighter, you've got to brake earlier, otherwise you're just going to go super deep. So yeah, basically we'll do Brooklands, not quite go as wide as that, and when you cut this curb, cut it diagonally across because you're aiming to not drive wide, you're aiming to just end up wide because it'll just drift out there. You don't want to like drive in a straight line wide. Like you see how we're here, we're going wide by choice. If you do that dive across the curb, like shooting over there, you just naturally end up wide because you're going so quick through that bit. There we go, that's it. Let's go again. I don't need to drive this time, I'm just going to watch you. Obviously, it's a little hard to do it on this lap because we were so deep at Brooklands. It will be easier in real life, I think. Because you feel... Yeah, exactly. And you'll see it on the Delta very clearly when you get it right. And it might be that in the Saxo, we actually don't go as deep in the middle because we're not going quick enough to be able to go that deep. You know, it might be that in the Saxo, we just stay tight all the way around because there's such little power, we can just floor it. We'll figure it out, but this is what most cars you encounter, this is the quickest way to drive Silverstone. Try to aim for control through there rather than limit. In real life, we'll be more on the limit, but you'll be able to feel it more. In this car, it feels a bit dead on iRacing, so just for the sake of perfecting the following corner, just wind the speed in a little bit. You're doing great though, dude. You're really, really close to me in lap time. Half a second, that's all it is. So I really think you've got that section sorted a lot better now. Like, you seem to consistently be meeting the apex at the right time through right-hander of maggots, so that's really good. You just give yourself that little bit more room to work with by positioning left early. Right, let's see this. So, yeah, well done. That's the first time I've seen you dive. Now, you were a bit cautious with the speed. I think you still maybe braked a little early, but your line into there was right. It's getting used to that because it's a weird line. Most people don't like doing it. In real life, I normally have to take the steering wheel and just go now, like push people over it, because they wait longer than that normally. But on that lap, you did it, so well done. Good through cops as well. That looked pretty nice. Yeah. So go in quicker, so you're braking later. Basically, you want to be forced to brake later because you've gone in so quick. You have to stay on the brakes, and that very nature of staying on the brakes longer helps the rotation in the middle. Couple of consistently good copses there. I think you wimped out. I think you were like, you were about to go in quick enough, and then you were like, whoa, this feels too quick, and you slowed it down. Because the fact that you were able to stay so tight says to me it was you should have been going quicker. Like, you shouldn't be able to stay that tight. Don't worry. I don't even care about cops on these runs. We're focusing more on Muffield, I think, on this one. Really good effort. That was like the nicest I've seen you do it. Now, I've got no idea what it looks like on the Delta, and it might not be an improvement until you perfect it, but that was okay. But that was a really, really good effort in terms of the style that you want through there. It's doing that, but just doing it perfectly. And like I said, in terms of JSCC, we'll tweak that depending on whatever works best for that car. How long are the sessions here for practice on Friday? And you say there's 2 of them? Okay, so that's pretty long. We're going to want to come in for like a stop to let stuff cool down and then go again each time. Otherwise, we'll be cooked. We'll run out of fuel. Okay. The good thing is, because it's so small, you know, because there's not that many corners, we'll be doing them over and over and over. Like, we'll really have time to perfect them. Definitely getting the hang of that. You're definitely getting like the feel for where you should be deep, where you should be really making those two clear apexes. Yeah, you were doing it all right, and then we just delayed the turn in a tiny bit too long that time. It was like all fine. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine for me. On the next data check, I'm going to just really closely look at cops because I feel like there's something that we're doing slightly different there. I think you've got this bit nailed. When you do this one well, you know how to do it. That was a tiny bit too early with the dive. Like, you were in the right position. We just went... Yeah, we went a little too early, like 10 meters too early. Yeah, you'll see it on the replay. It'll be obvious, but... Completely the right idea, though. Like, you know, the right kind of speed. Yeah, you turned and then had to go straight. Because you turned and you were just on the grass, basically, straight away. So... But you're nearly there with it. You're really nearly there. It just feels unnatural, I think. That's more like it. Yeah, so like that, but less hard braking. Because you like nailed the brakes all at once. But your speed in was good, the line in was good. It's now just like not overreacting with a stamp on the brakes. It's like a long press, but like a long, medium to gentle press. Okay, no problem. I need to go at 6:30, so we got 25 more minutes. So that's a lot of laps of this track still. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's just got no front end at all, has it? I thought I'd try some reverse donuts. Hang on, I'm gonna just try and do it in a better spot. Because reverse donuts are really good. Right, let's go see if it'll spin around here. No, there's no space. There's no space. Need to get out on the track. Right. Are you changing your tyres and going again? So I don't think you'll be able to do it because you are too young and the cars you'll be driving are too modern. But when I was your age, well, hang on, no, not your age, just a little bit older than your age. Oh yeah, don't. Oh yeah, I mean you can get disqualified, and I can just undisqualify you. But yeah, it's all right. I can clear your penalties. Yeah, in hot hatches or even like rubbish hatches when I was 17, we used to just do reverse donuts in car parks. You know, you just go in reverse and just go flat out with a bit of lock on, and it flicks round and round. And yeah, it's not very good for the car. You'll probably be in much too modern cars to do it. Just keep it flat. Yeah, it kind of does like this little. Yeah, you're doing it just like that. Anyway, let's go. I think your tyres are a bit hot. So I just want to see a little set of clean laps from you so we can take your best one and check up on. Yeah, you might want fresh tyres. I don't know. These might be shot. They might just be too hot. So just reset the car and do like gentle clean first couple of laps. So you've got temperature, but so I was in the 105.4s on the first flying lap. So you only need an out lap to get enough temperature. And you don't need a hard out lap either. Just like a kind of moderate out lap, and they should be fine for the next lap. Just try not to have any slides, front or rear, on the outlap. Just like bring them in nice and naturally. And going into Brooklands, just wind the apex speed back a fraction, just so you can be very deliberate in your correct line for Luffield. I'm really pleased you're sorting. Yeah, you've sorted that corner out. That looks good now. Like that's a real good little change you made. Dude, no, it's okay. Sorry. I thought my car had been stolen, but I think it's okay. Yeah. I got an update on my app telling me my car was in Warwickshire, but that's just where I was earlier. It just hasn't updated. You don't want to know. Well, you'll see when you see a video. Yeah, that happened a couple of times. I got taken out of second place in the first race, and then I just didn't really have any pace. My cart's got no front end whatsoever, so I've already sold it. Yeah. I really hated the kart. No, I'm going to do a different series. I've already bought I've bought a 2023 rolling chassis OTK. I think you're diving into turn one a little bit early. I think that's why it understeers so wide. We'll look at that in a minute on the data. Yeah, I think so. When we see the GPS trace on the data, it'll make sense. So. It's a Tony Kart 2023. But I also bought a 2017 Cosmic, so I can swap the chassis and run the Cosmic in GX UK. Okay. So I can confirm my car is still on the driveway because I can see it on the camera, so that's fine. Yeah, but I wouldn't say dive, like smoothly turn a little bit later. We're going to look at the GPS in a second. There's a reason that it's going wide there. I want to find out why. I don't know whether you're braking too early and then you're on the power too early and it's pushing you off. We'll find out. So you've done a 206.2 a couple of times. Maybe let's do one more lap because I want time just to look through this data. And obviously, like then I can just leave you to it. You can just keep practicing after that. Right, so do we want to take that 106.2? I know that's not as quick as you've been earlier, but that's a recent lap you've done. Let me just have a look at it. Let's just watch that lap back and see. So before we look at the data. So it feels like, it looks like we go into Cops and it has like 2 corners. So we turn in, then go straight, and then turn in again there. So I think that tells me we've got in too early because you're almost having to like turn away and then turn back. So that's it. And it still went wide. It still went wide on the exit. So we'll look at that on the data in a minute. I think, in general, you're doing maggots well. So let's leave maggots alone. So we're still a bit tight at this point here. We kind of want to be right tyres on the white line at this point, or slightly wider. Yeah, I want you to dive across that curb, but you've got no room to do that because we're already on it. We're already so far on it, we're on the dirt. So that's what's making this hard. Let's look at the next lap in case that was different. So turn 1, let's see if we see a similar thing. Yep, there's 2 turns again. It's like turn, straight, turn. It's like turn, straight, turn. So and your angle is just wide. So I think we just need to delay the turn or the rate of steering. We'll look at the data and we'll see exactly how fast you're turning the wheel and see whether that's it. But that's going to be quite crucial in real life at Cops, so we want to get that right. Again, we went in a little early into maggots that time, and again you see it's like turn, straight, turn. So we just want to not cause yourself a problem by making the corner tighter than it needs to be by going in too eagerly. Let's see what happens through here this time. So yeah, Brooklands has pushed us a bit wide that time. So this time you haven't had time to get back over here to turn in. But same thing, we're like, when we get to the point we want to come from here diagonally across that curb, we're already up against it here. So we just need to be slightly slower here. You see it's about to understeer, like now we're pushing wide. We need to be under control from the apex to the exit there. We need the front end to be under control, that's all. And in real life it'll be easier to do that. You'll just feel it won't push as wide because it won't be as horribly understeer as this car. And then the last one, I know it's slower, but let's just see what it looks like. There's a little bit of turn straight turn there, like there. It's like a kind of, you see like the nose walks wide, but I think in general we were just going too quick that time. Let's see through here. I want to see your steering input. See, some of it's correction, and some of it's just like slightly early turn. Let's just go back to the final corner. You had a little bit more room that time. We still understeered wide through Brooklands. We probably used a bit too much curb there, and then ran a little bit wide there. But that time you were like, I'm going to try and get off the curb to buy myself a little bit of room to then use the curb. And actually, that was kind of fine. But not perfect. Okay, which data should we look at? Which one is representative? It's been quite a while since you did that 105. So the reason I want to look at something more recent is because you're not doing that anymore. You're doing this. So let's go for the 106.2. We'll have a look at that, and then we can compare and see why you're not doing the same time as you did before, like which area we're losing time. Ultimately, I don't really care what your iRacing lap times are on this. Like, you're not driving a Clio and you're not racing on iRacing. It's just to get a feel for the style. Right, so let's make you do orange like we did before. So the most recent one, not the best one, but the most recent one is now orange. Okay, so now we're slightly overslowing. So what you're doing is actually braking at the right time, or similar. You're doing the right speed here. So as you're going into cops, you're like the same speed as me. Look, you've got 165 and 166, you and me. The difference is you carry on slowing it down and then have a poor exit. Right, this is interesting. Let's see why. Because actually the line... Yeah, okay. Right, here we go. This is why it's causing a problem. You're going in as quick as me here, but you're trying to do the same line as you did when you went wide on the exit. Like look at the green versus both of you. Tom and Tom are both tighter on the approach to the apex, which then obviously makes you wider on the exit. You know, you're going in, you see it, you don't really see it out here. When you zoom in, it makes more sense. You're tighter on the entry, and then you're wider on the exit. Now, why is it? Why are you tighter here? God, you have a big opposite lock moment here. Okay, it's very, very subtle, but when you look at the steering angle here, the green one is me, and I'm straight. I'm at 1 degree and you're at 7 or 4 degrees. I'm dead straight and you're at 5 or 7 degrees. You just begun the turn slightly earlier. And then we get to here, and I still haven't really started my proper turn. I'm at 3 degrees and you're already at 15 degrees, or 9 degrees, depending what lap. And then you have to like turn away from the corner, and you're turning away at the point where I'm now really cranking on the lock. I'm now up to 8 degrees and it's getting more. So that's it. It's basically, we just need to not be too eager getting into cops. It's a fraction of a second delay and then smoothly turning in. Let's just watch it here. And I think you're pretty consistent on that. In straight, in again. Now I want to see mine as a comparison. It's a bit more of one curve. It's like a bit more... Yeah, you see, it's like I peel off later, now I turn. It's like that's where the main turn is, like here. Although the car settles, I don't really turn again. I see on the gyro if it actually shows. There's opposite lock. There's like little bits of opposite lock, but it's really one curve to the inside. That's it, and it's just by turning in later. That's all. And it's not a lot later, it's a little bit. It's just a little bit later. Right, okay, let's look at the rest. And we want to get rid of your quicker one, because I want to see what you're doing now. Okay. Okay, so into maggots, you're braking quite a lot later than me, which I think is making your life harder. So I'm rolling on the brakes a little bit more smoothly and earlier because it's like this gentle curve, and I don't really want to stop the car. I just want to slow it down so I can be at the right speed as I rotate through the apex. But you're way, way closer to what I'm doing than before. You're still narrower than I am, though, on the approach to this bit. You're coming off much more similarly here. You're still a little narrower, so you can still like position slightly wider over here. The reason you're narrower is because you're braking harder, so you can't really keep turning left because you're just stamping on the brakes that bit more and a bit later. So you can just like guide it wide. We'll work on this more in the car for real. If it manifests in real life, then we'll work on it more. But you're definitely in the ballpark here now. This is not bad at all. Now let's go to Beckett. Sorry, not Beckett. Sorry, Brooklands. Okay, as expected, you're pushing wider here because you're going through the entry phase a bit quicker. You're just like, you're doing a great line on the way in, but because of this extra speed here, where you're like 8k quicker than me on the way through here, you're picking up understeer, going wider, and that's causing you to be deeper here. And then you can't do the thing that we're talking about where you start wider and cut in. But you are definitely going apex, wide, apex. It's just you're doing an earlier apex, an earlier wide, and an earlier second apex. Because of what's happened, all because of what happened here. Because you were going a little bit quicker back here. So what you do through the early phase of Brooklands is then just affecting you all the way through Luffield. And so you make a little gain, if I zoom out, you make a little gain just here. You go from 6 tenths down to 5 and a bit tenths down. But because of that gain, you then make a big loss here where we're like 1.1 seconds down. because you've had to go slower on the exit. Basically, what I'm saying is keep the line into Brooklands, just also keep it slightly more under control from the apex to the exit to allow you to perfect this bit. Because you can see from the GPS trace here, you and I are just a bit offset. We're like, you're trying to do the thing, but your speed prevented you from doing the thing. But you're definitely closer. You are definitely closer, and I think in real life we're going to be able to perfect that. Now we've had this conversation 4 or 5 times, and you know what I'm on about, and you've seen my version. And if I just skip to the end, I'll just show you it again, just so it's really obvious. But we apex between those 2 red blocks, just like you are. We aim to go pretty wide, but not so wide that you're like, shit, understeer. You don't want to be, like, I'm at full throttle here because I've got the luxury. From here, I'm under control to the extent that I can be, bam, on the gas. And I've got the room. I'm not giving myself loads of room, but I don't need loads because it's a really wide track. I just need enough to angle over this curb. Then it's diving over that, not diving over the dirt, but diving over the black and white curb. It runs wide naturally in the middle, and then we pivot back. We're just like patient on the gas, and then bam. If it's not pivoting enough, we stay patient. And you see this bit here where I'm like 0 throttle, apart from a blip on the to change down. I'm 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, bam. Whereas you're like, that's probably enough. Accelerate gradually, gradually, gradually. Then you're forced to lift right at the point where you want to be flat. See, right here where I'm like, from here, I'm full throttle until cops. Because you're earlier on the gas, you're then like, this is going to run wide. Lift, then back on. And that then kills your exit. So we just need to lift for a bit longer as well. But you're really nearly there. And when we're doing it for real, I'll be talking to you in real time. On this, I'm letting you get on with it. In real life, I'll be saying, wait, now. And we'll do that enough times that you just do it without me telling you. But this is like great pre-prep that means we don't have to have these exact same conversations at Silverstone. We've already like had the initial conversation. We now just need to both feel what it's like in a Saxo, make a slight adjustment, which there will be some, and then fit what we were talking about here into what a Saxo lets you get away with, and then you'll just be quick. So that's it. By all means, keep going. This session's going to carry on running. I'm going to stop the recording.